Hey guys, we're getting ready for Rumor Wave here, but I always like to read you guys' comments before I start, just kind of check through everything. I noticed one here, and it says, make sure you remind people to like the video at the end. Likes are good for growth. So, like the video. It says I was going to remind, like the video, guys. Yeah, it doesn't seem, I don't know, some of that doesn't seem good enough. It doesn't seem impactful enough. I got an idea. Did it work? Did you guys like the video? You should like it. PS4s aren't cheap. Did you guys like the video? Hasn't started yet, but you should like it anyway. Hey guys, welcome to Rumor Wave. We're going to talk about a bunch of rumors today. A lot of them are Switch-based because, of course, we're coming up on the Switch's release. Well, at least the release of information. The release is still far off, but we will at least get more information, and most of these rumors can at least stop, and I'm sure new rumors will start. So we're far from being to the end of rumors for the Switch. But let's just get started and take a look at a couple of these. So the first one, of course, comes from Obi-Wan. He was talking for his Switchmas. He brings up a couple of interesting rumors. The first one really is that online will be free at launch. And guys, before I get really into these, I need to stress because people just don't seem to always understand. These are all rumors. None of these are fact-based. They're all leaks. Even the people who leak these say don't take them 100% sure, 100% confirmed. It's all rumors. With that out of the way, let's talk about this online to be free at start leak that Obi-Wan put out. So he did stress that it's going to be at launch, which means that, of course, Nintendo could eventually move to a paid system, and it really comes down to what you get for the money. Of course, you could get a free game. There could be perks that you get as a paid user. At this point, Microsoft and Sony are both paid services now with their PSN network, and then, of course, their Xbox Live. But you do at least get a little extra. Of course, Xbox Live, you get games every month, which is cool, and their service overall is pretty stable. Usually it's pretty much always up, and for me, it's always worked well. And then, of course, the PlayStation Network was free for a while. I think it was free for about 2 or 3 years before they moved to the PlayStation Plus, where you would get a free game every month, or several games sometimes, depending on the month. And you would get things like cloud storage, which was pretty cool. I do like the idea of cloud storage. I understand why you may have to pay for that because you have to maintain servers or ways to hold that information. I get that at least. And I know a lot of people on the PC, they don't like that. And I get that. I play on PC as well. I can understand where they're coming from for paid online service. And I think it's pretty obvious Nintendo would have an advantage if they could keep their online free, because free online is always a big deal. Whenever people would come in to the stores I would work at, they would always ask me which service was free online. Of course, the PlayStation 3 at the time was versus the 360, which, of course, when I was doing it at the time, it was $50 a year, and now it's obviously moved up to $60. But that was always a big selling factor for people. It's free online. I don't have to pay a monthly fee or a yearly fee to play online for Madden or Call of Duty. Some of these people played like 2 games a year, keep that in mind, and it was a big deal to not have to pay $60 to play 2 games online for the year. And like I said, the Switch does move to a paid service. It's not a big deal if they offer something. If they don't offer us anything extra, then it's kind of a waste of money. I hope that they do give us things like free games, cloud saving. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff they could do with it. It comes down to the content they provide and the price. Maybe it's not $50 a year. Maybe it's like $30 a year and you get a free game or you get cloud saving along with it. It's going to come down to price and content available. And of course, they're in the market. They can do it because the competition's doing it. But keep in mind, if they decide to keep it free, that's just one advantage that they would keep. He also moved on to say that social media could play a role in adding friends, and I like this. This is a massive evolution from their friend codes, of course. Instead of having to punch in this massive, whatever it was, 16-digit code, something crazy, you can add people on Twitter, which means I could add friends that I want to play with on Twitter. You guys could add people that you follow or something, I'm sure. I feel like I would probably get you'd probably get a couple of friend requests in your box that you may not want to play with for whatever reason. You may not want to play with them, but I think it's a kind of a cool idea to be able to do that. So that's a great idea. Facebook, Twitter, you don't have to mess around with extra usernames or anything. If you see them on Twitter, if you see them on Facebook and everything's connected, you can just add them to a friends list with a press of a button. Good idea. The other leak that he put out was that there will be no Netflix or really any streaming services planned for launch. Now, this should not be taken as a positive. Obviously, this is a negative, obviously, because it's a service that's not there. But how much is it going to affect most of us? Most of us have boxes, computers, tablets, cell phones that already do Netflix. I have so many devices in my house that do Netflix. I think it easily doubles or triples the amount of TVs I even have that I could play them on. I mean, I have my phone. We have like 2 tablets in the house. I have several gaming consoles that do it. This laptop, that computer. We each have cell phones. I mean, the list goes on. I have Roku's in the closet right now that could do it if I wanted it to. So I'm not going to lose any sleep that Netflix is not on the Switch, but I do understand that this would affect some people if the Switch is their main source of entertainment in their house. So that's a negative, but this also does say it's at launch. That seems like something that would be easy enough to eventually move to the store where you download it, patch it and everything. I mean, it is running on a Tegra processor from NVIDIA of some kind, and it's a little weird that this should be something that's easy enough to patch in since it's using an X1, supposedly, of course. It seems weird that it would be this difficult to move over. That should be almost a no-brainer, super easy to patch in, unless there's something with the operating system that's different. Either way, if it's using NVIDIA's Maxwell or Pascal, this should still be something easy to patch in. Maybe it's just not a big deal to them. Again, I understand. It might just affect somebody who is using the Switch as their main source of entertainment. They don't have a PlayStation, they don't have an Xbox, they don't have a streaming box, but launch, if it's only not available at launch, this tells us that they could be adding it in the future, and this has happened with other devices as well. So again, it doesn't affect me, probably doesn't affect most of you, but I would look for Netflix, Hulu, all that stuff, probably a couple months down the line. And this is where stuff gets good, because we have pictures, we have what is essentially, I mean, to me, it's so close to being confirmed, it's insane, but nothing from Nintendo, of course. We'll regard it as rumors. So on Twitter, a user by the name of DroidXAce posted a ton of pictures for accessories from the Ori manufacturer, and these show a bunch of cool stuff. One of the big ones I saw, of course, was this fight stick that you're seeing here. It's a Real Arcade Pro SW, and it's very cool. It's a very large fight stick. Now, these are pictures that look pretty good overall. I mean, it's hard to, again, say if it's legitimate, but there would be a lot of work that would have gone into this, and I think too much work, but you never know with people. Again, these look really good. There's the fight stick, there is the screen protector, there's like skins for Zelda for the Switch. Again, kind of cool. I guess I'd have to see it. Some of these are black and white, and there's also another list that was leaked also that I'll show you guys as well, just full color pictures. You have like the Ori pad, which is like kind of like their old fight pad that they put out for like the handheld one that was for the PS3, and it's a good looking controller. It really is. I mean, it looks very ergonomic, and it's something I would probably use. It's corded as well, not a big deal. I actually kind of sometimes prefer the cord. I understand a lot of people with fighting games like the cords because it, of course, cuts down on what they say is lag to the controller. I get that. Wouldn't affect most of us, but if you're looking for that, obviously that timing where you're down to measuring frames, I understand. If you're doing that, you're probably counting milliseconds too. So corded ones make sense. But we have a fight pad, and we have a joystick here that is being rumored. And the only reason you would do all of that is if there is a fighting game coming to the system that would need this stuff. Now, Smash Bros, usually you use, of course, a GameCube controller. Usually you don't even use it. A joystick, you wouldn't use that. Maybe Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is showing up, just being pushed to it. I think the safe bet here is Tekken. Tekken 7, I think, would be easy enough for the Switch to just use straight up, no sweat. And it would make sense for a fight stick to show up for that game. Even the Ori Pad Pro, like their little Ori Pad, would make sense as well for Tekken. One of the other accessories that's rumored and leaked here that I really like is the stand. I think it was on a lot of people's minds when they saw the kickstand being built in that the charge port would be covered. That's a problem. It really is, because I could see this thing, if we do get 3 hours battery life, that's going to be a pain not to be able to charge it. Or if you're near an outlet, you just don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about the battery at all. It's fine, with the charge port plugged in. This stand looks really cool. Now, when I had my Vita on me a lot, I would actually take a charge stand with me most places too, because you can pop it down, plug the charge cord into the back, and it would charge it. That's great. This looks like a really cool idea for a stand because it's adjustable. The bottom is obviously left open for the charge cord. Great. And it doesn't appear to be expensive at €12.99, which is right around the $19.99 mark, I think, for the United States, somewhere in there. So I'm all for that. That's great. I mean, that looks good. So here's one of the more interesting accessories. I'm going to kind of explain to you why. At first glance, it looks just like a case that holds your game cards, for example. You'll see them here. They were very, very common for the DS, for example. You would have a tiny little clip case that you would close with that had, 6 to 12 DS games in there, depending on how many sockets it has for them and everything. This one's interesting because if you look at the bottom right, you'll see it has spots for what appear to be smaller cards. Now, I believe that's for SD cards, micro SD cards, and there's a spot for 2 of them, which is interesting because I think the big practice here is going to be able to switch SD cards as you want. So instead of buying one large, crazy, out of range 512 gig version, you can buy 2 256s or you can buy 2 128s and switch them depending on which game you're playing, as long as you keep track of obviously where your games are, whether they're downloaded on one card or the other. Now, unfortunately, Nintendo wants this thing to be portable, and they want it to be seamless between the dock or the tablet version of it, and of course, you can't really have a hard drive tethered to the back of that dock without it also being plugged into the tablet version when you're on the go. That doesn't seem very likely, obviously, because then you're hauling a hard drive around, it has to be plugged in just right, at just the right spot and everything. The micro SD cards have always made sense. Of course, the storage concern has always been there, but at least this way you can hot swap them. You don't have to format them or do anything crazy, and I think that's going to be the case. I don't think that there's going to be 2 slots on the tablet for 2 different SD cards. I could be wrong. I just don't think that's going to be a thing. That would be really cool if it was. I just don't see that being a possibility. I just think you'll be able to change them as you like, and without having to format them or do anything crazy. You'll just turn the system off, pop the new one in, turn it back on, and whatever you have on that card is there. And that's it for Rumor Wave tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed some of the new rumors. I like some of the accessories. Some of them are really cool. If you want to get a good look at them, I'll leave some links down there in the description for you to some of the different posts that have them. I'll leave a link to the full color ones anyway, and you got to check them out. There's even a really cool Zelda skin on there. I like it. It looks neat. I don't think I'll put a skin on my Switch, but that's just me personally. Maybe you would like to. That's fine. And let me know what you guys think about different rumors. Let me know if you like this Ori pad too. I really like it. I think it looks very nice, but I'll probably just get the Pro Controller, to be honest. It's wireless. I don't really need wired, so that's the way it is. But like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you next time.